Hi friends! We're gonna kill a part of your childhood today. I want to talk about fairy tales. You know, those little rhymes and stories that used to send you to sleep, and you thought the world was a fun, happy place. Well, now you know that's a lie, and so are fairy tales. They are riddled with gory details you didn't even know about. So today, without much further ado, let's kill your childhood. Snow White. So Snow White lives with 7 midgets and she takes care of all of them. She cooks and cleans for all of them, which is sending girls all the right messages at that age, let's be honest. It's a little bit of polygamy, that's always good. But let's not forget that all of them had a variety of psychological problems. Grumpy, who would become enraged if the corner of his toast was burnt. Sleepy, who would fall asleep at any given moment, and she was trying to talk about her day and he was just gonna, fall asleep. Happy, who was just, didn't know how to take anything, so he just freaking smiled all the time. How annoying is that when you're trying to tell a story to someone like, oh my god, she's so awful to me. She was, a massive cow, and all that they could say was, oh, but I bet they're great to their mother. That's not what I want to hear right now. I just want to hear you say that she's a stick bug. That's all that I wanted. Doc, who would probably diagnose you with, with all kinds of diseases when you would just, had a cold. Oh, you actually have the plague. Bashful, who would probably say one thing and then deny it the next minute. Sneezy, as if that wouldn't get old quickly. I'm just gonna go to the, just get some Claritine. As if living with 7 psychologically impaired dwarves wouldn't drive you crazy. As if you wouldn't eat that poison apple. And cut the girl some slack. Beauty and the Beast. The beautiful story of how a gorgeous girl and a horrible beast, like sort of bear wolf kind of guy, meet and they learn to love each other. Well, he sort of loves her from the start because she's, bathing, but she's just like, you know what, you're a bit too hairy for me, you probably should wax. But they learn to love each other, and then eventually, he becomes a prince, because that's what happens when you fall in love with someone who's really ugly. They always end up being handsome. That's just how it happens. You get rewarded for putting up with someone who's ugly, because that's a good lesson to teach kids when they're younger. It's okay to be ugly because you will eventually become pretty. How many kids is that going to disappoint? And I'm just going to mention really quickly, bestiality. It's not okay. And in quite a few fairy tales, like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, if your parents get divorced or if your mother dies, your stepmother is going to be a horrible, horrible woman, and you shouldn't trust her with anything ever. You definitely should not take any kind of fruit. The Little Mermaid. If you fall in love with a guy but you're incompatible, you should totally just change everything that you are so that you could be together. That's fine. Even if it's like a core part of your being. Swapping your tail for legs and losing the ability to talk. Because you have your looks, and your looks are what he's going to fall in love with anyway. Don't bother talking. Just flutter your eyelashes. But he is the only one that you will ever love. There's no way on earth that you could possibly find another guy that you will fall in love with. So you should probably just change everything that you are and cut your losses, because he is your future. He is the only way you are ever going to be happy. And can we just take a second to talk about the unrealistic expectations that fairy tales set for hair? I'm not talking about the book versions of these. I'm talking about the movie adaptations. These girls never have a bad hair day. Snow White, Cinderella, even though she spends a century asleep, she would have the worst case of bed hair ever. But she just wakes up and she's like, oh, I'm just so fantastic. I just came from the hairdresser. Oh my god, feel my hair, feel how soft it is. Ariel, who emerges from the water and she's sopping wet, but it dries perfectly, body, volume and everything like that just dries on point. Who does that happen to? No one, ever. It sets unrealistic expectations of hair. Girls grow up thinking that one day will be attainable, and it's just not. It's never gonna happen for you. It's not gonna happen for me. You are going to have to use about 7 different implements every morning just to look like a human being. Forget looking beautiful. To just be able to walk outside the house is going to take you an hour. Ugly people are inherently evil, with the exception of the Beast, who becomes good looking, so he doesn't really count. It was just, that spell was cast on him by another ugly person. So he isn't really ugly, he's just pretending to be ugly. He's just got an ugly facade. But every other ugly person ever, you cannot trust because they are evil. Look at the stepmothers, look at witches. They all really look like they need a different shade of makeup because it just does not work for them. They go a cello kind of green. Why would you choose that? I don't know why evil people want to look evil, but ugly people can't be trusted. That's all there is to it. And let's just talk about the ending to every fairy tale ever. The classic line. The line we all come to know and expect, so that we know that everything is going to be okay, and they all lived happily ever after. No, they didn't. They had about 7 kids. She became really fat. She got postnatal depression, and she just wound up really hating life. He became an alcoholic because he couldn't handle all the kids. They fought regularly about finances, they couldn't pay their bills. She became really ugly, and he thought that he couldn't trust her because of, the aforementioned reasons. You can't trust ugly people. She let herself go, and so he thought, well, she's not the person I thought she was. And they probably got divorced. The end. No wonder you turned out weird. It's not your fault. Now maybe instead of fairy tales, you read your kids something wholesome, something that teaches them about the world, like The Silence of the Lambs or The Exorcist.